What is up, guys? This is your boy Legend Killer 5 coming at you with another gameplay video, this time of The Last of Us Remastered. And now, I had my eye on this game for a year, a little bit over a year. I was just buying other games at the time, and it interested me back when it came out. And I think it came out probably late 2013, early 2014. Well, I guess I watched like Jacksepticeye play the game and other people play the game, where at first I was interested, but because I already played it, I kind of lost a little interest, and then I went back to watching gameplay on it again because I kind of forgot about it. But I didn't forget like the gameplay mechanics and how it looked, the graphics and the zombies. I did kind of forget like what type of zombies there were, but so I watched gameplay again on it, and it was one of the games I was looking to get for 20 bucks on the PlayStation Store because I do a little work online, and I got a PlayStation code for $20. So because my internet's not good, it would make no sense to get a PlayStation Plus membership to waste $8 right there. I got 3 months once, and I didn't pay the internet bill. We couldn't pay the internet bill, so I pretty much had that. I pretty much had 2 months go to waste one time, so I won't be making that mistake again. So I got The Last of Us. Now the other games that I was looking to get was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, like Need for Speed, Drive Club, but all the racing games, they got bad reviews. Plus, I'm not a racer. I'm not into those type of games. I'm a very picky person when it comes to games. Like I'm mostly somebody that's into sports games, but I also love the Naughty Dog company too. So, you got that element in the game, and the gameplay mechanics. And right now, this is me kind of doing my voice, recording, my commentary after playing like through, I guess, 3 chapters, because after every chapter I have to download like the next chapter or whatever to play it. So there were a lot of factors that went into me getting this game. One, it was kind of there were like a bunch of games. There were probably like at least 6 to 8 games that I was looking to get, but I was thinking, all right, Phantom Pain is a game that I'll be interested next year too. Whatever, a few months from now, so I could still get it. But which game am I going to want to play right now? Which game am I going to be interested and excited to play? So I got excited again to play The Last of Us. And the order, what was the name of the game? 1888 or 83? The order? That was like $2.99 a week ago or 2 weeks ago on the PlayStation Store. And I thought it was going to stay that price. I went back on there to buy it, and it was $19.99. So I decided to get this, just for the fact that I was excited to get this the most, and finally have played it, because I told myself if I wait another few months or a year from now, I will not be interested for this game. I'm somebody that will buy a game and not even play it. There's a bunch of games I haven't played yet, so I won't get into that right now. So what we have here is kind of, a an introduction to the game. I guess what they kind of show you playing as Joel's daughter, the main character of the game, his daughter. Joel's the main character of the game. He's a father. That's a good father, by the way, and I guess he's a busy guy, because later you'll find out that he comes home, or whatever, he comes home late at night, and he doesn't really have anybody to babysit his daughter. you'll see that I've noticed. I guess maybe she was responsible enough to follow his father's, rules in the house, to go to bed, to make sure she's in bed by the time he comes home from work. I don't know. Um, when I first played this, I obviously seen this before, so it's kind of like I knew when I had to play the game, this was like probably the one part of the game I didn't want to play because I seen so many people play this, at least play the introduction. So the introduction was something I didn't want to go through because I've seen people do it. So I had to kind of put myself in that mode. I had to kind of get through that barrier of just pretending like I've never seen it before. And it's different when you're experiencing it yourself. So I did it. I tried to see what I could do. I tried to see the gameplay mechanics just from the introduction, see what I could do. It kind of reminds me of Life is Strange, because in Life is Strange, I downloaded the demo last week and I played it, and all you're doing is just walking through your house, walking through like various places. Like sometimes, I mean, most of these games, they're simulation type games where you only get to do what the game wants you to do. It's like for example, you could be trapped somewhere and the game will only find you one way out, and you got to take that one way out. It's not realistic because in a real life situation, if you can't find a way out, you'll find a way out. You know what I mean? You get desperate enough. If it looks like there's only one way out, believe me that there's multiple ways out. You get desperate enough. I mean, look at prisoners in jails, in prison. You've heard stories about people spooning their way out, like with a spoon, just like, I don't know how. So hopefully my commentary is not like louder than the actual game audio right now. If it is, I'll end up either re-recording it again, or changing the options for the audio to make that's right. In the SHAREfactory, you're able to adjust the audio for each clip, or for whatever track you want. If you want the audio from the clip to be louder than your own commentary, you could do that, or the commentary louder than the audio, the gameplay audio, you could do that too. So a lot of people don't even use the SHAREfactory. I remember I've had friends, that were scared to use like LimeWire at the time, like years ago, because they said they'd give you viruses. Like, I'd be like, yo, I was like making tons of videos on YouTube with LimeWire, for music and stuff, to make lyric videos and stuff like that. And I didn't have any problems. It was like other places that gave me problems. So here, kind of start to notice things are going on in this city, or wherever they are. I don't want to get ahead of myself, to spoil some things for you guys. Well, you guys are watching this anyway, but I won't talk about future gameplay, in the game. But I really wish they would kind of introduce this area a lot more. The fact that the game starts out with you having to run away so quick already, like literally, as soon as you start the game, you start to find clues around the house, and you watch the TV, and even though the girl's completely clueless to what's going on, you know what's going on, you know, because you know what the game's already about. This part right here, I thought it was a pretty cool thing you could do. You know, you still control the daughter, and you're in the back seat, and you can actually move all around inside the car and get different views from the car, from the side, you know, views from the side or from the back. When I was a kid, I was for some reason I was afraid of driving on bridges. You know, I was afraid. Bridges were like always. This kind of area would kind of freak me out too when I was a kid. You know, when I was a kid, whenever I would be in a car and we would be driving, my family would be driving or whatever, it always freaked me out because I guess I never thought about it. I would always, you know, when you see the road from a distance, it looks like the road ends, but it never does. You know what I mean? It looks kind of like how a waterfall is from a distance. You know how like a river or whatever has a waterfall, and you look out into the distance, and you know there's a cutoff end because it's a waterfall. And when I was a kid, I probably didn't get over that until I was like maybe 10, 11 years old. Yeah, I would have liked the option to have gotten them, you know. But really, I think there were 3 people, so I mean, there wouldn't have been enough room unless there's room in the trunk there, and I'm sure there is. I gotta tell you, this city, it's just like my city. When you go down a hill from the hospital, I mean, you go down this hill, and the hospital's right to the left, and this road kind of goes just like that too. I mean, it would look exactly like this at night, you know. But they're in Texas, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so I mean, it's possible that wow, it looks just like my hospital. It's possible that, you know, a lot of cities, because if you think about it, roads are the same everywhere, pretty much, you know. A lot of things are the same everywhere, so, you know, usually, you know, police stations are downtown everywhere. It's like, you know, I mean, that's why when you watch a detective show or a cop show, you know, you hear we're gonna go downtown. That's because every police station's downtown. You know, you wouldn't have a police station like in the city somewhere, you know, in the suburbs or something, you know, outside the city. You would have it you would have it downtown. Sometimes I hate games like this where you pretty much have to, you know, you pretty much have to do what the game tells you. Like right there, there's really no way you could have got out of that situation without the game telling you how to. Because you'd probably just be pressing like random buttons to get out of there. And another thing that these games do that I don't like, it's really not realistic. For example, you'll be, let's say you're trapped in a situation where there's zombies, you know, right outside the door where you're trapped in, and you're like, let me think. You're like, let's say for example, you're trapped in one room, and the zombies are in the hallway, and the people you're trying to protect are like in another bedroom or room in a house or something, and you kind of have to protect yourself first before you protect them. Which, I mean, in real life, you know, you try to do whatever you can to protect them, you know. But it's kind of like they give you unlimited time to protect yourself and then go find them. You know, go find the people you're trying to protect. Like, that's not realistic. It's like, oh, there's zombies in the hallway. Let me take like 2-3 hours to kind of get out get out of my situation. Hey guys, I'm back. So the audio cut out because it was only a 15-minute limit. There's only a 15-minute limit. Hopefully they'll change that. Just like the recording limit that you have, it used to be 15 or 30, and they made it a full hour. So hopefully they'll change that too. Or maybe there's even an option that I could record my audio for even 30 minutes. Who knows? But I was saying, like, you know, like if you're trapped in one room, you know, it's like, oh, let me take 2-3 hours to get out of my situation and then go find, you know, my family or friends and protect them, you know, and whatever. So right here you got a pretty good friend that's helping you out in this this part of the game. You know, you're at this point you're controlling the father and you're actually carrying your daughter. You're actually carrying I don't know what her name is, you know, but you're carrying your daughter. And I died here because I looked behind me. It's just like in, you know, in movies they'll tell you don't look behind you, just run, you know, and I for some reason I just wanted to see how far the zombie was. And right here I thought to myself, I'll just see, you know, maybe hopefully from shadow, but there's no more shadows until, you know, obviously I get here, shadow will start again. One thing I'll just tell you about this game is that the running mechanic is pretty, you run pretty slow, and I don't know if that's because in the whole game you're pretty much injured, or you know, you'll find out later why you run so slow. Yeah, right here it's obviously like any, you know, zombie movie or, you know, whatever, where they find out somebody's infected and they're trying to get rid of whoever's infected, and at this point they just do what their, you know, what their commanders tell them to do. Right here, I'm not gonna lie, my heart was in my throat, you know, I was like, I felt so bad, like the voice acting during this part, and seeing Joel crying and his daughter dying, it got to me. It got to me, you know, because, you know, he tried everything to protect his daughter, and he even had a friend to help him, and he was in the bad situation, and, you know, there was nothing he could do. And I mean, he obviously don't see his wife or his daughter's mother, so he's pretty much by himself.
The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200.
And this is like, I guess, yeah, the credits of the game, the introduction. So there you go, guys. That was the introduction. I guess I'll make that as part 1 of The Last of Us Remastered. That was your boy Legend Killer 5, and I'm out.
I'm coming.
How was your morning? Want one?
No, I don't want one.
Well, I have some interesting news for you.
Where were you, Tess?
West End District. Hey, we had a drop to make.
We had a drop to make.
Well, you wanted to be left alone, remember?
So I'll take one guess. The whole deal went south and the client made off with our pills. Is that about right?
Deal went off without a hitch. Enough ration cards to last us a couple of months. Easy.
You want to explain this?
I was on my way back here, and I got jumped by these two assholes, all right? And yeah, they got a few good hits in, but... Look, I managed.
Give me that. Are these assholes still with us?
Well, that's funny.
At least find out who they were.
Yeah, look, they were a couple of nobodies. They don't matter. What matters is that Robert fucking sent them.
Our Robert.
He knows that we're after him. He figures he's gonna get us first.
Son of a bitch, he's smart.
No. He's not smart enough. I know where he's hiding.
Like hell you do.
Old warehouse in Area 5. Can't say for how long, though.
Well, I'm ready now. Yeah?
Oh, I can do now. The checkpoint's still open.
Only got a few hours left until curfew.
Speaking of checkpoints, I'm sorry about this, guys, but I actually wasn't able to record the gameplay for this chapter, so I had to do it all over again. So the great thing about this game is you can go to the main menu and watch cutscenes. So I decided to record the cutscene again instead of just, you know, recording or playing the game, playing the chapter again, to just watch that cutscene. And so I'll tell you this ain't a spoiler for anybody that wants to get this game, but
Look at that.
you know, I'm just somebody that when I play this game, I'm pretty much looking for stuff, you know. And the reason I'm looking for this wanted poster is because I play the game and you actually, you know, find the wanted person that the government's after. So, because I already played this, you know, you get to meet her pretty quick. She's got a lot to do with Ellie, you know, obviously the other main character of the game that, you know, gets involved obviously a hell of a lot. And so right here, we're looking for Robert. I guess he's a traitor. Robert's a traitor. You're up to no good, Robert. So we met this woman, this lady. Her name's Tess, and you know, I kind of wish they didn't go 20 years later. They didn't have to. They could have went like maybe 10 or 12 years later, because in my opinion, it's kind of like a way for the company to pretty much be done with the series quick, because yeah, there's another Last of Us coming out later this year or next year, but I'm gonna say next year. But if you think about it,
So much for the easy.
Joel's even older or whatever in the second one, so it's probably like it just leaves off from The Last of Us, you know, the first one. But the fact that they made him old, you know, like
We're gonna have to go around
the fact that they advanced 20 years later in the, you know, in the story
just let Robert go.
in the first game. I mean, what, he's probably like in his 50s right now, because he's showing some gray hair and everything, and you know, in a way it's kind of like, oh well,
Hey, how's the East Tunnel?
It's clear. I just used it.
you kind of
So where are you off to?
screwed yourself a little bit, because if the fans love The Last of Us, you know,
She's been asking around.
now there's probably gonna be fans thinking, okay, is Joel gonna die in the second one? What's gonna happen? Because, you know, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna make a third one if there's even gonna be a third one? Um, I thought he was. I mean, I feel like they're two completely different people. The Joel from 20 years ago and the Joel now, because I mean the voice obviously is different when you get older. And his appearance, I mean, wow, it's completely different. Not just the hair, but you know, he's got a distinct look to him. You know now. Whereas before, he looked like somebody that you probably couldn't take serious. He didn't really look like a good protagonist in the game, if you know what I mean. I mean, he looked like he was. Um, he didn't strike me as, you know, that serious until I seen Joel. You know, this Joel 20 years later. You know, he's more rugged and he's more serious. He's, you know, like any action hero, you know what I mean? Pretty tough guy. Um, Obviously, he got tough after seeing his daughter die and her die in his arms, you know. It was kind of weird seeing how, you know, the game just went 20 years later in the story, and there's no story to how he met Tess or how he ends up in Boston, because they're actually in Boston right now, Boston, Massachusetts, somewhere. Um, so I guess the whole West Coast, you know, was completely, you know, gone. I guess they had to go to Boston. The fact that they had to travel from Texas, from where was it? Houston, Texas, to Boston, means that probably Florida's wiped out too. That would make sense too. Being near islands and everything. Man, so that, I mean, and large, you know, obviously major cities like New York, um, and all that. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty much Drake. I mean, look at the way he's dressed. Even Tess, the female protagonist here, Tess, she reminds me of Drake's, you know, wife or, you know, girlfriend or whatever. So, and the other wanted woman we're gonna meet soon when we go find Robert. Um, she kind of reminds me of another Uncharted character, you know. In a way, it's like it's really cool because I mean, even you know, you're playing the game, you're getting used to these characters, so it's not like, okay, this is Drake. It's not Drake, you know. It's not Drake. Uh, it's not Drake's girlfriend or wife, whatever. But I do like the fact that they're the same company and that they're kind of, you know, I mean, Joel's wearing green. He's wearing you know, a leather backpack. I mean, I mean, even the stuff even the stuff he does, the animations he does when he climbs or jumps and stuff. I mean, sounds. I mean, it's like Drake. You know what I mean? I could understand if Uncharted was like done. If the Uncharted series was done, you know, we would all love this. Um, all right, so right here, I should have known, but coming up here, there'll be some zombies, and depending on what mood I'm in, sometimes I want there to be zombies right away, and other times I'm fine with just, you know, going through, you know, the motions and everything. I found this so fucked up. Like I don't know what the hell that is. You know what I mean? Like what is that? It's like blood with, I don't know. I don't know how these games get their stories. I mean, part of me feels like the whole Agartha place is real. That place where, I guess at the North Pole or whatever. It's like some secret city or whatever, some another world where where they say like dinosaurs still, where dinosaurs still exist, where monsters exist, where you know a lot of stuff that you see in movies exist. If that's true, maybe they found a way, or they have seen how a virus has started and how people start to mutate and turn into zombies, and maybe that's how all these game companies and movie companies get their ideas from. Maybe they all know something that we don't. You know, um, I don't know if you guys know this, and a lot of you probably do, but the government has been actually behind the scenes. I've watched a video where they said that the government actually were the ones behind like like the music videos in rap, you know, the rap music videos where they're doing drugs and drinking and everything, where they're promoting drinking and doing drugs, and the government was actually behind it to promote this to I don't know what, you know, I don't know why, maybe to just steer, you know, people in the wrong direction or what, I don't know. um, it is amazing how fast time has gone, you know. Like we're talking about, I mean, I wasn't around in the 80s. I was born in 1990. I was born in the 90s, you know. Um, but I don't have any memory until like the late 90s, 97, 98. So it's almost like I was born more like in the 2000s, you know. It's weird. Early 2000s. But I remember, you know, when you're growing up in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, you know, you're like, stuff that happened at that time was stuff that just happened. And now it's 2017, and you're no longer in, you know, the early 2000s, and you're thinking, wow, like I remember when Eminem, you know, came out with, you know, his first single and everything, and the fact that, you know, you can't say, oh, that was just last year. You know, you can't even say that was 10 years ago. That's been 17 years, you know. And even though I wasn't around in the 80s, it's like you can't even say it was uh, even 30 years ago anymore. It's been 37 years. You know, we're in 2017, and I remember I was going into one of my local supermarkets. I ended up finding one of my best friends there, and we're going shopping together. You know, he's like getting the same stuff I'm getting. We're getting like mushrooms and well, you know, at that time I was, you know, shopping healthy, and my friend, like, he goes into the, I forgot what kind of aisle. I think it was the bread aisle, because I remember seeing like tortillas for burritos or whatever, and this music just starts coming on, you know, on the, like, you know, the music at your supermarket on the announce speaker or whatever, and you know, it was a song from like, you know, not even our childhood. It was like a song from like our, yeah, I guess you could say our childhood, our teenage years, you know, and when the song was done, you know, it was like a radio station saying like, we'll be playing the classics all day, and and then they were talking about how that song was a classic. Now I don't remember what song it was, but you know, I'm looking to my friend, like we're both looking at each other like at the same time, and
Won't you guys be able to get you some of them air fresheners?
we're like, dude, that's a classic? Are you kidding me? Yeah, my friend was like, how dare they call that a classic? You know, right now I'm just like, you know, making stuff up, but you know, he didn't say how dare they call it a classic, but you know, he was like, dude,
I got it.
like we were both in agreement at the same time. We like looked at each other at the same time, and we both like came into agreement at the same time, like, so now this is like considered a classic. Like, you know, it made us both feel old at that time, and we're only I think he's a year younger or 2 years younger than me. I'm not sure. I think he's only a year younger than me. So he would be like 26 and I'm 27 right now. And yeah, that made us feel old. And at that time we were like, you know, this was like a year ago or maybe 10 months ago. This happened last
It's a bit heavy.
I think I can handle it.
all I know is it was like pretty much probably the beginning of November, because then I found him again like a couple weeks later, which was in Thanksgiving, the second time I met him that month. So yeah, I would say it was like November of last year, which is like 8 months ago. I'm not good with time, but it feels like a year. You know, sometimes time goes slow, sometimes, you know, time goes quick. It's pretty crazy. Like sometimes I'll try to do the math and I'll say, okay, how many days are there in 10 years? You know, and you do the math, there's 365 days a year, so you just multiply that by 10 and you get 3,650, right? So like that doesn't sound like that many days for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like 10 years from now, I'll be almost 38, you know, and the fact that that's not even 4,000 days from now, that's pretty crazy, you know, and the fact that 1 second is really quick, and depending on how you live your days, one day is pretty quick too. I mean, you could say 1 week. Sometimes weeks go by in like a couple days. It feels. Sometimes weeks feel like they go by in a couple days. Sometimes, depending on how you live them, you know what I mean? If you're somebody who stays up in one way, you know, a day lasts a long time, but then you wake up the next day and it's, you know, like the day's almost gone already because you wake up pretty late. And it's, you know, counterintuitive, you know, or whatever.
No soldiers, none of Robert's men.
So, right here, be a good time to pretty much end this part for now,
No, he's
because
expecting.
we'll be entering this
Well, that'll make it more interesting.
place where all these survivors of this virus going around, or have gone around, have created a safe haven. So we'll just end it right here. It's your boy Legend Killer 5, and I'm out.